What is going on, Clippers fans? Welcome to Season 3, Episode 19 of Clips and Dip. I am Chuck Mockler, joined by William Updike and Adam Oslin. Will is back from Japan.
That's not his name. His name is @FollowAnime @Clippers Talk. It says it right there.
You know where to find him. If you want to send trade ideas, they go directly to Adam. That is our trade idea department. Will's back from Japan. We are back to talk the top 10 Clippers rotation, what the heck to expect from the game on Thursday, where I don't think any starters are going to play, and whatever else comes up. If you're watching, thank you so much. If you're listening, you can watch us on YouTube at youtube.com/@ClippersPodcast. Before we get into all of the starters and bench stuff, Will, how was Japan? How many Clippers fans did you see? Was it less than 5, more than 1?
It was more than one. Like, weirdly,
Hey!
I saw somebody with the cap, and then what was the other piece of gear that I saw? I think it was just a shirt. It was just like a straight up. It wasn't the clearly not. It wasn't the newest one. It also wasn't the like the terrible CLA rebrand. It was
Right.
It was the previous a Sterling era T-shirt.
Okay, that is genuinely more than I thought you would see.
Two, I was surprised. I mean, and both times I try to be like, Clippers, but my Japanese, I know nothing. I know if it's not like arigato or konnichiwa, I'm lost. I'm completely lost.
They were like, this large white man offered to clip my hair. I walked away. He was shouting Clippers.
Well, and like just pointing is kind of like it's a weird vibe. So I can understand why people weren't exactly trying to chop it up with me.
That's fair.
I wouldn't either in their situation.
Yeah, get away from me. Adam, I don't believe you were in Japan. How's your week going? You've been busy.
I mean, I felt like I was in another world last night at Intuit Dome, but
I mean, everything that all the footage and everyone who was there said it was just amazing.
Incredible opening night. Even though it was just preseason, it was still the first basketball game ever played there. And things went off, I think, I don't want to say without a hitch, but I was listening to fans talk about the face recognition stuff and videos of people doing that. And it looked to be going pretty smoothly as opposed to the lead up and the concerts and stuff. They may have smoothed out a lot of the kinks right now. So that was cool to hear.
Nice. That's great. Yeah. It's like, there's also some stuff too. They did like preseason video stuff. So the stuff that was like kind of some of like the animations or whatever the new, I feel like saying that for the Halo board is disrespectful to what the Halo board can do. But like all those packages are going to be way different next week for the actual regular season, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think there's more to unleash with the Halo board, but they did a couple things that were pretty cool. They did something called the Mentalist, where you use the controller on your seat and it's like green, blue, yellow, red. And so they would say, guess what the next color on the Halo board is going to be. So you press one. If you get that right, you move on to the next round and you keep going. And it gets to the point where the fastest person who has gotten it right the last 4 times in the arena, and they're telling you how many people are still in the game, the fastest person to get the last color right, they can find them in the arena, and I guess they won a prize, somebody last night, whoever it was. So
that's pretty tight.
You're going to go from 18,000 people to 1 with this game when they play it at full capacity.
Do you think they could perhaps pour up a Donkey Kong 64 and everyone could just watch me play for a few minutes?
Dude, yeah, we'd be so lucky. I mean, let's go. Esports or e-games going on there.
Dude, esports on the Halo board would be, I'm sure they will rent it out in the next couple of years for like a Dota tournament or something insane.
Halo on the Halo board, original Xbox Halo.
Come on. Did you see, this is the one thing, did you see the like remote t-shirt guns in use? Were they using
No, that's one of the features they didn't go with yet. No, whatever from Battlestar Galactica, those robots. No, we didn't get that experience. They definitely were holding some stuff back, and it was still just awe-inspiring being there.
Well, and it wasn't even at capacity. They have sold out though the concerts, right? Like it has been at capacity. We just haven't seen it at capacity for a game yet.
Slipknot sold out 2 nights in a row, I believe, at Intuit Dome.
Makes fucking sense, dude.
Wait and
yeah.
bleed.
You want to hear dig, dude?
That's Mudvayne.
Oh yeah, sorry. You can tell my metal or new metal. I don't want to offend anybody's knowledge. I did see some people complaining about the halftime show. It was sugar free. Give him a break. He's an older.
Oh yeah,
guy.
Adam. What were your thoughts on the halftime show? I didn't hear you chime in.
I kind of wasn't paying that close attention.
Oh, you were
honestly,
working,
'cause
so
I was doing it was just background. Yeah. I don't know. God, I wasn't paying that close attention. What were they saying about it? Was there a mic issue?
I was just seeing a lot of like awful on the timeline. Not even like I didn't personally even see like a lot of descriptors. It just seemed like
Bad
a lot of people were
performance?
unhappy.
I watched the clip of Sugar Free performing at halftime. He's, for those of you who don't know, if you're listening to this, Sugar Free is an older rapper who raps very quickly and he raps off beat. So it's not the easiest thing to do live. Look, it didn't seem like his best performance, but at the same time, it's preseason. Give Sugar Free a break. I'm sure when they bring him back for the Western Conference Finals, he's going to absolutely crush it.
It's his year too.
Oh, every year is Sugar Free's year. I don't think.
Is it confirmed yet that Fat Man Scoop has like a lifetime seat at Intuit? Has that
They're
been
going to keep it
confirmed?
empty. Yeah, they're going to keep it empty for him. They should. Man, that was genuinely. You don't hear a lot of pops in a stadium as loud as the pop was when Fat Man Scoop came out.
Oh yeah,
during that playoff game. R.I.P. Fat Man Scoop. All right, let's get into it. We're talking the Clippers 10-man rotation, which does not include Kawhi Leonard right now. There's no real update, right? There's no timetable for his return.
He's not practicing with the team, so
no change in status.
I think it's looking pretty unlikely he's playing in game one, considering he was talking about a ramp up and a build up to playing in that first game. He's not playing in the preseason game on Thursday, and he's yet to practice with the team. You would just expect, like, okay, he moves on to practice, 5-on-5, contact stuff, and then you play in a game, and that stuff hasn't happened yet. How long that stuff would need to happen? Like, does that happen for 2 weeks before he plays in a game, or is that just like a week-long thing you need? I don't know.
Charles and I were saying that, like, if you're a Clippers fan, be in December. I think, like, I think in all likelihood, at the earliest, you're looking at a December premiere for Kawhi.
I mean, I'm hoping.
I'm not even saying that's the most probable scenario. I'm saying I think that's the soonest. Like, I would be shocked if we see him in November.
Really? I mean, I'm hopeful for earlier November, but the only thing I could think is you look at the early schedule and there's 2 back-to-backs right away.
Bingo.
So stupid.
But that still, doesn't take you all the way to December. I mean, getting past that could be like the first week of November, second week of November. I don't know. But if it all depends on how his knee responds to everything he's doing right now.
Right.
Clear this hurdle. Did the knee swell? Yes or no? I mean, like, that's what I'm thinking is going on.
Do you think in post games we'll be allowed to ask the knee questions?
No, or you can, and they'll
How
say,
are you responding so far?
And that's what's funny is the first hurdle for him to clear is an actual hurdle. They want to see if he can really get over it. There's no swelling or anything. So the 10-man rotation right now, Ty Lue said last night he's going to start the season with a 10-man rotation. Doesn't seem that crazy. We got the starting 5: James Harden, Norm Powell, Terrence Mann, Derek Jones Jr., Ivica Zubac. We have the bench 5, which is we've talked about the percentages of his time played in the NBA at certain positions. KPJ is the backup point guard right now, just based on what he's familiar with. Chris Dunn, backup 2, Coffee Batum 3 and 4, Kai Jones at the 5, who has been getting better in all the preseason games. Adam, Will, what are the kind of the immediate strengths and weaknesses can we think of for the starters? We can start. Should we start positive? Should we start negative?
Let's go negative and silver lining.
Okay, cool. Negative right off the bat. It's going to be a common thing that we hear fans talking about and already have talked about is kind of like the spacing, right? You have Harden and Norm who can shoot, and then everyone else is going to kind of have to earn that right from other defenses, I think. The half-court offense is going to be maybe a little rough to start.
I mean, I'm glad Norm's starting. I thought this was going to happen. Like, it made sense to me. You can't just lead into defense and be like, hey, We're gonna hold them to 10 points in the first quarter, and we're gonna score 11. I don't know if that's gonna
Iowa
work.
of the NBA.
I understood everybody's concern with Norman Powell defensively, but he has played pretty well in the preseason, and in the past, he was an above-average defender before Portland. I don't know what happened there.
We talked
But-
about it. We think it was bad habits from Dame and
Yeah.
CJ.
It could have been that. Like, it mitigates a lot if he just gets back to playing slightly above average defense. That's all they need from him. Like, I think he's still capable of that. And so far in the preseason, he's looked pretty good. So his spacing and gravity, when he shot 44% from 3 last
Oh,
season,
he's
like,
fine. Yeah.
they have to respect that. That's huge for this team. I still have concerns about the half court at times, but Norm, it's a necessity to have him out there, I think, without Kawhi Leonard. I just don't see another way to do it.
Yeah, they're kind of, I mean, you're right. They're pigeonholed into doing this, right? Like the score 11, give up 10, I think is a great way to look at it. Like, Will, what are you worried about with this starting 5 other than the spacing and just the half-court
I mean,
offense?
I still think the size is just gonna be an issue.
Ooh.
We kind of had conflicting thoughts. I mean, I agree with Adam. I think the effort has been there for Norm Powell. We know that James Harden can be used effectively in some defensive scenarios. Obviously, we know about the strips, which are, we saw in a huge order in the last preseason game that he'll end up playing in. But I just still think there's a clear ceiling to how this backcourt can kind of defend. And then it's going to kind of fall on the other 3 guys who are, all sound, all very versatile. So it's not impossible, but I do think that size is going to be an issue. I just don't see how it couldn't be.
Yeah, I mean, it is not ideal. Like, there's not a perfect guy to bring in as that 5th guy and say we're balanced on offense and defense just like we want to be. But then I look at opening night and the team they're playing in the Phoenix Suns, and it's like, well, Norm's probably going to guard Bradley Beal. Kevin Porter Jr. is going to be on KD. Terrence Mann's going to be on Devin Booker. I don't hate that. Like,
James Harden's not defending in this
Kevin
scenario?
Porter Jr. for the
not any of those guys.
Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were talking starting 5s against the Suns starting 5.
Yeah.
Are you putting KPJ in the starting 5 on opening night?
No. Let's say that Derek Jones Jr.
Derek Jones Jr. Yeah.
I keep going DJJ, KPJ, Jeff Van Gundy, JVG.
Too many J's,
I've gotten
man.
lost in all the abbreviations with this team recently. My bad.
Too many Breves.
Too many Breves, bro.
Yeah. But
okay, yeah. So you got
Norman Bradley Beal,
yes,
Derek Jones Jr. on KD, and Terrence Mann on Devin Booker.
Cool. Yeah. Okay, for sure.
I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah. No, I mean,
but that's not every team they're playing.
That's the thing.
Early in the season, borderline.
Yeah, they do get them twice pretty early.
And there's some tough covers in the Western Conference at the guard position. I mean, Anthony Edwards, though he's not tall, I mean, very strong, very tough to deal with. Luka Doncic, I mean, is going to tower over both of that backcourt.
But I think what they're going to do is they're going to hide him on Jaden McDaniels.
Yeah.
Or put him on Mike Conley and hide James Harden on Jaden McDaniels. Like, they could hide him on some threes that aren't scorers,
Yeah. And I like the chemistry between Terrence and Zoo, just in terms of Terrence knowing how to funnel guys and things like that, is going to be huge that has to be lockstep for the starting 5. Derek Jones Jr., Terrence Mann, and Zoo all have to be, which I'm sure Jeff Van Gundy is getting them on. I don't mean to say it like that. We've seen them be good at defense in the preseason. So seeing that all come together with those, like that bottom 3 of the starting 5 is crucial for the Clippers not, getting in these situations where if the shooting's not really there with the starting 5, then there's even more pressure on the bench and even more weird lineup stuff to happen. We do have a strength in that we have a top 10, top 5 defensive center in the league anchoring the starting 5.
Yeah. A good backbone. Support
your biggest concern, Chuck? We haven't heard yours.
Biggest concern, I think it's streakiness. I think we're going to get nights where, Norm and James Harden are going to combine to shoot like 65% or something. It's just going to be an unreal, first 8 minutes or something like that. And then I'm just worried that we're only talking the starting five, so I'm not even talking about Harden off the floor yet. But if Norm or Harden are both kind of in jail or whatever the kids are saying by their defenders, things become very difficult for the Clippers to score the ball.
Slow down Harden, slow down the Clippers offense completely.
Kind of like
it seems like they're prepared for this. Like he's going to play more off ball than we have seen. And
yeah,
that's great because he can't just do everything and run everything all the time at 35.
Totally. And we saw, Will and I talked about this a little bit last night. Derek Jones Jr. brought the ball up quite a bit to like initiate things and stuff like that. So I've been wanting to see more like small screens and stuff like that. We've talked about Kawhi as a screener. We've talked about Terrence as a screener and stuff like that. So I think they're going to wrinkle some of that stuff in. But yeah, man, early in the season, the first month and a half, they're just going to throw everything at James Harden, the opposing team defensively, because why shouldn't they? You have to prove that everyone else can play without the system, kind of.
And there's just, this is kind of like a double-sided thing, because I think the most exciting and scary thing about the Clippers is like how many sort of unknown quantities there are, right? Is DJJ's shooting that he enjoyed in the playoffs, is that going to be sustainable? Can he open the floor up? Are we going to see more offense run through Zoo? There are steps and things that you can see the ceiling of, but it just remains to be determined how that is all going to work. So yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's a double-edged thing because it is very exciting, but at the same time, like if it's if we're getting bad answers to those questions, it's going to look really, really bad.
And the defense, I feel way better. I feel better about the defense. Seeing Derek Jones Jr. buy in to the new stuff, seeing the older Clippers vets buy into what Jeff Van Gundy is bringing.
How about Kai as a backup? I came away pretty impressed with that performance last game.
Yes.
He was up against Gafford at times. He actually had a real big man on the other side to go up against for once.
Mm-hmm. Like that. It's a great segue into the back five because there's going to be a bunch of weird lineups. Ty Lue, we thought Ty has been tinkering Ty before. 10-man rotation opens. Usually he plays like an 8 or something like that with what the version of the Clippers have been.
And it kind of begs the question, like, how often can this team, like, how long can they tread water if you have a full bench unit out there? Because we don't enjoy the same depth that we've had in previous seasons. And Charles and I were talking about this a little bit last night, but a lot of our depth is actually kind of relegated to like 2 positions, maybe 3 as tweener small forward. So yeah, I think that is going to necessitate a lot of ingenuity from Ty, but he is the guy to do it. Like if there was one guy that you'd want in that situation, it has to be him. And I just hope, I just hope that he can be react without overreacting, and also, maybe we can't afford any 10-game sample sizes. I guess
some ingenuity is what we need from the head coach.
Love it.
Thank you. I'm on point today a little bit.
I do have some hope that I don't think we're going to see any 5-man line changes or anything like that. After the second preseason game, when he tried that, he was like, yeah, that was my fault when we started turning the ball over and over again. And then he had the quote out there regarding, and this is when people started to think, oh, Norm Powell is definitely going to be the starter, taking him out early with Ivica Zubac to then get him back in later in the first quarter. Like, I think those two are going to come out after the first 6, 7, 8 minutes, maybe 6 or 7 minutes, and come back in towards the end of the first when Harden takes a seat. And then they'll bridge the end of the first into the first 5 minutes of the second quarter before James Harden comes back. So I think it'll be those two paired with a lot of bench guys. I think it's 3 guys next to Norman Powell and Ivica Zubac a lot of the time. 3 bench guys.
That's a good call. Yeah. And then you can have, you put Dunn out there with Norm. That's not, you got him to cover defensively. He can take cover in the 1 or the 2 or whoever's the toughest cover, which is nice. What do you think of Dunn's preseason so far?
I thought it was everything I needed to see. Like, that's Chris Dunn. Like he is nuts defensively.
That's Chris Dunn.
The star of the fourth quarter was pretty crazy last night. I don't think Dallas made a basket till the 7.5-minute mark, and the Clippers got like 8 turnovers the first 5 minutes of the fourth quarter and just said, we're not letting you score ever right now. And it felt like Wingstop or Clamp City was going on. They had Batum out there. Dunn was out there for some time. Amir Coffey was out there. KPJ was out there and was playing good defense. Williams then came in later in the fourth. I don't know. Chris Dunn has had some incredible defensive plays so far in the preseason. It's his offense that you worry about. And is he going to make threes? I don't know what's real with him. I don't think what has happened the last 88 games, which is the last 2 years in Utah where he shot over 40% from three, overrides everything else in his career from distance, which has been below average.
That's fair. It's
going to be really interesting too. Assuming that KPJ is a really solid part of that 10-man rotation. I mean, having him shifted off ball so much more is going to make that all the more crucial.
What are his off ball numbers? Do we have any of those for KPJ? He hasn't really been asked to do
3-point shooting.
Yeah.
I've sent him here a few times. 48% from three in the 21-22 season and 44% from three the 22-23 season. That's pretty crazy, actually. The 48% might have been 99.9 percentile.
I mean, it has to be. Yeah.
I don't know how many. He was playing heavy minutes. He was a starter. It's got to be something significant.
Totally. Yeah.
I think he can shoot it off ball, but does he want to play like that?
Sure. And preseason.
Oh, I was saying Dunn is going to be shipped more off ball, but
my bad.
With KPJ, but
that's a good call.
Hey, I love this segue. Hey, it's fine. We're talking about completely different things. We're all here. We're having a good time.
Dunn's numbers are trash. I'm sorry. No, I'm kidding. I don't know.
You start the anti-Dunn. Because KPJ and Dunn is interesting too, right? Because you kind of it's kind of similar in terms of what they bring, not ability-wise, to kind of Norm and Chris Dunn being out there, right? You have a guy who's very clearly the offensive guy being helped on the defensive end by Chris Dunn. So Chris Dunn has a pretty big role, a very important role on this Clippers team for mitigating some of what may pop up with the backcourt defensive issues, which is exactly why we signed him. And I like what you said, his preseason, that's Chris Dunn. Yeah. Chunky stat lines, nothing crazy. Diving for. So I think someone said on the chat last night that I loved. He's doing the dirty work without talking about it. He's just doing it. This is what I'm here to do. I fully know my role.
I don't think he can help himself. He only knows one way to play. It sounded like one of his other nicknames was Smoke. He wants all the smoke because of the fights and stuff and the chippiness.
Let me look it up on Basketball Reference, the mecca of nicknames.
I don't know if it's mainstream enough for Basketball Reference, but he said something. It was an interview recently, or one of the Clippers little montage things. Oh yeah, where they were asking him, "What is your name and what do your teammates call you?" I think this made the rounds on the Instagram side for the official Clippers account, and I think he mentioned Smoke was one of the names he gets. It's I think I know what that means.
Yeah, no official nickname on Basketball Reference. They got to get on that over there with that 7 people who run that website or whatever crazy stuff that is. All right, Will, give us a strength of this bench unit and how they can work into games. What are you looking forward to seeing?
I mean, I think it's a really interesting blend of youth and athleticism with some really solid, consistent league veterans that, we know what we're going to get. Everybody loves Batum. Couldn't be happier that he's back. You know what you're going to get from him. Chris Dunn, I mean, while he might not pop out or jump off the page, you know what you're going to get on a night in, night out basis. There's just a lot of extreme consistency there, and mixed with sort of the high ceiling upside of some of these younger guys. I mean, I think it's pretty damn exciting. And again, I think there's going to be great nights and probably some really terrible ones, but I do enjoy that mix of having that the sort of known quantities and just consistent guys with that sort of athleticism. I mean, that was a shock to the system to watch the athleticism and the dunk and everything on
50 alley oops last night.
In the last preseason game, I mean, that was I have not watched basketball like that in a long time. I mean, that's pretty damn exciting.
I loved, to your point, there was a pass that Batum hit KPJ with off the elbow when KPJ was cutting, and Batum just hit a little, a very simple veteran NBA play, which is hit the cutter right where they need it, and it was an easy bucket for KPJ. So totally agree with you on that point. Adam, what are you most looking forward to other than Kai Jones maybe taking Zubac's starting spot?
Yeah, I mean, Zubac didn't play great last night. I'll say that.
11 and 16, coward.
He sucks.
Did he end up with that?
Wasn't it something like that?
Let me look it up. He had a shit ton of boards.
He had 11 and 12. He was 5 of 10 though from the field, and he's been missing. Like, Coach Luz thought he was rushing it post game with some of his post moves, and the game before that they weren't getting it to him enough or getting it low enough in the post where then they're forcing him to have to dribble to get to his spots, which you don't want. You want him deeper in the post when he catches it. So it's kind of been hit and miss. I mean, I'm not overly worried about it, and Kai is not taking his job. We'll see if he can take Obama's job. Let's start there, guys.
Sorry.
Get the two-way, huh?
I was just making that. He's absolutely good. He deserves it too.
He does. I love it.
I was just looking at Zeus' stat line from last night. 11 and 12, 50% shooting, 4 steals.
I gotta be honest, it looks
crazy.
Well, that third quarter run the starters made to start the second half was everything, because all the starters lost their minutes in the first half. They did not play well in the first half. And against the Dallas team without their 2 top players, kind of curious. Like, they didn't look in sync at all.
Yeah,
and,
I mean, it was the turnovers. Like,
but Dallas had fucking 29 of them. Like, we're never gonna see that all season long. It was insane, and it makes sense because they're missing the ultimate offense guy, the new James Harden and Luka Doncic, who has the ball in his hands all the time, and another ISO guy in Kyrie Irving. So how are they going to run their offense at all without either of those guys out there? And you saw it. And the Clippers took advantage of it, and it was great. And 36 points in transition, we're not going to see that this season. That's not going to happen. But they had 16 the Friday night in Seattle against the Portland Trail Blazers, and they had all these long outlet passes, and it felt more repeatable or sustainable with the way they were doing things in that game versus what we saw last night maybe. And you could see it's a point of emphasis. They're really doing it. They are getting it to their athletes, because if you got all these guys, you better use them now. So you have to construct an offense that works. That means you got to run more. And they are doing it. They are intent on doing it. So I appreciate that aspect of it.
There was the Harden quote from last night about how, like, I can't remember the term they used, not explosive passes or something like that, but like, he's like, I need to get these guys out in space, basically. Like, almost talking about it like it was soccer. like I just need to get these guys in space where they can run, because that's where Derrick Jones Jr., that's where Kai Jones is at their best, is when they're in transition.
Amir, man, they have so many guys that can do it now.
Yeah.
It's just like Will said, it's weird watching. Like, you're not used to seeing this brand of basketball from the Clippers.
No, not at all. And we have to imagine that Jordan Miller is going to work in at some point. This, like, he'll be the 11th guy, but like, he's looked really good in terms of getting offensive shit done in the preseason.
Yeah. That's what we call get her done, Jordan Miller.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's a big Larry the Cable Guy fan, Jordan Miller. Okay, so per ESPN's Basketball Power Index, one of the wildest named things I think you could make, the LA Clippers project to be 42-40, 19% chance of winning the Pacific Division. Some say the hardest division in basketball. 51.5% chance of making the playoffs, 32% chance of finishing top 6, 40% chance of making the play-in. Their projected seed is 8.1. William, haggle, no haggle that from ESPN's Ultra Super Power Index.
Oh, man. I mean, they're not winning the Pacific Division this year.
Season's over as far as I'm concerned. Why even fucking roll the ball out?
Amazing how it's still going to end up their year.
Well, sure, things.
I didn't
change.
say anything about seeding.
Oh yeah, that was the point we had to reiterate yesterday too. Is just because it's our year, seeding don't matter, dude.
I don't get. So they have a 51. They have like a nearly 52% chance of making the playoffs, but only a 40% chance of making the play-in.
Okay, I heard from Russo earlier. This same formula has
I'm
the
just
Knicks
quoting the
only
stat.
winning 40 games. Like what? Are the
40?
Knicks only winning 40 games?
You're
or
gonna
40
win
and a half?
fewer games.
I don't know about that.
Like this same formula has some other weird projections out there, I guess.
I wonder if this formula was created by. I don't know. That doesn't make any damn sense.
It ain't Tim Legler.
So maybe it is our year then. Maybe we actually have an 80% chance.
Unstatable team. Unstatable formula.
Okay, the Clippers might be unstatable this year. There's going to be an essence in that arena.
Even in wins and losses.
And they don't, that's not a team stat. I'm this guy now. Wins and losses aren't a team stat, man. That's a horrible way to judge a team. We shouldn't base our judgments on that. Okay, well, if it has the Knicks only winning 40 games, then this formula might be bullshit.
That's what Rousseau said.
He's our favorite French-Canadian reporter. All right, so throw that out.
No, I kind of like it, though, for the Clippers.
Total, yeah, hey,
reasonable, honestly.
Hey, like 42-40, high play-in team. With where we're at, there's uncertainty around Kawhi. We have, like Will said, some unknown quantities. 42-40 doesn't feel bad. For as of October 15th, 6:18 p.m.
You'd love to see him get to 45.
You would love to see him get to 45 and avoid the play-in. But I'll tell you what's going to be rocking during the play-in. Intuit Dome.
Oh, yeah.
Is it our year for the in-season tournament, too?
I don't know. I'm not getting any vibes on that one.
It's not the NBA's year for the in-season tournament. It's just a bad idea.
It's just a bad idea. That's fair. Before we do a quick little audio break to talk about the final preseason game, Adam, what soda are you drinking?
Oh, one that unfortunately I got somebody else addicted to.
Hell yeah.
I got the Dr. Pepper Zero Cherry. Somebody hit me up earlier today and said, you got me addicted to this. Yeah. Raul said that on X. It's good. I'm sorry. I don't know if it's you're welcome or I'm sorry. I don't know.
Yet again, another product advertised on Clips and Dip that sells. Crazy how that works. So Dr. Pepper, if you're listening, we would love to advertise your product. All right, coming up, we're going to be talking what the heck to expect from this final preseason game. And then that's kind of it because we're just itching to get to this regular season. If you're watching us, there's not going to be an ad break. If you're listening to us, which you can do everywhere you get podcasts, give me a quick little break. Then we're talking the final preseason game at Intuit Dome coming up in 3, 2, 1.
All right, we're back in the Clips and Dip. We talked about your starters, talked about the bench. Time to look ahead to the last preseason game, which, we already kind of had the heads up. We're not going to be enjoying the starters in. So, what do we do with this? Charles, what's one thing you want to see from this game?
I think I'm going to echo a pretty popular sentiment from other Clippers fans. Jordan Miller, get him in the starting lineup. Just see what happens. I don't want to say this game is inconsequential, but if the starters aren't playing, let Jordan Miller show out a little bit, right? We don't
start Jordan Miller.
Yeah, are the Kings playing their main guys or not all of them?
That's a good question. Because not
DeMar
everybody is already at their last preseason game.
Right. Are like DeMar going to play? I don't know, but start Jordan Miller. There's no reason not to, I don't think. I mean, maybe start the normal second unit, whatever. If they're all going to play, sure, start that last 5 we talked about. But get Jordan Miller some minutes.
So that will be the Kings' 5th preseason game as well. And they are 0-3 so far and are currently in a contest with Utah. And they're down 14-13 in the first quarter.
So they're definitely losing that game.
An insurmountable lead.
If you're playing the Clippers defense, that does sound like a first quarter score.
Can I say something maybe alarming about the defensive rating that's being thrown around right now for the Clippers in the preseason?
Do it.
Go for it, man.
I don't mean to bring any negativity in here, but I know we were kind of riding high on this, and then I looked it up last night. It's like, do you know the two teams? So the Clippers have the second best defensive rating right now in the preseason. And it'll change later tonight after these group of games are done.
Yeah, they'll be first.
But the team in front of them and behind them would be the Portland Trailblazers and the Detroit Pistons.
Oh no!
Does that change anything for you?
I don't think it changes the fact that it's our year.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't change anything for me. I mean, I wasn't putting a lot of stock into the actual defensive rating. There's
Mike
really,
Dang is who it changes things.
really
for.
no point in that. But it's more about. I mean, it's more about just seeing the process, and I think that we've seen enough on that to, at least to start the season, they are gonna lean into the defensive identity, like we heard. It looks like that can be effective. So yeah, I'm not too worried about it.
That is hilarious, though. I think, like there were some people after the game against Warriors who were like, hey, we held the Warriors to 91. And I'm like, who gives a shit? Like, not to sound like a dick.
I did keep saying we held Clay to 0-9.
Yeah.
Held Clay to 0-9.
Hey, something there, dude. Bill, we got the Clay stopper.
They might have a lot of 0-9s this year. I don't know.
I agree with that. But
I'm
that
a Clay
is
fan, but
I think that's good. That's great context, though, to show, like, on the whole, preseason, maybe not the most indicative. Hey, the Browns went undefeated the preseason, proceeded to follow with one win for the next 2 years in the regular season.
damn.
And I think the Patriots went defeated in the preseason the year that they lost to the Giants in the Super Bowl, being their only loss.
Is there something, though, to bad teams wanting to show this time it's different in the preseason, and they're just playing harder than other teams that know what they have and know they're going to be good?
I think you're right, because that's what Law said about the regular season, right? Like, you don't really know who, like, a bad team is until, like, all those teams are starting out fighting to try and win.
I know who a bad team is.
Well, sure, yeah, that's
Portland and Detroit.
But in terms of effort, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have them being like, hey, let's not play Scoot 25 minutes. Let's give them 12 or something like that. Like, you can get snuck up on earlier in the season by
That's
that.
fair, yeah.
But I think you might be right, because if I played for Portland or Detroit, which I was not close to doing, I would be like, let's get out all of last season's bullshit. Let's make the preseason a little better. And then they would tell me to shut up and wash the towels or whatever. So you're hoping for, it sounds like what you want to see is a shootout on Thursday. You want to see 148-146 Clippers. Just to
I want 176, 175 against the Kings again. Double overtime.
How many overtimes would a preseason game have to go to before the refs were like, we're done? We're not doing this anymore.
Is there overtime in the preseason? I don't even know. I was asking Carlo this on the air, because remember the Summer League overtime was like 1st to 3 or something like that. It was a different format. It wasn't a 5-minute clock.
I don't know.
I don't know if anyone does. I don't know if Adam Silver knows.
Yeah, the refs are like, we have shit to do. Like, we're not gonna do 5 more minutes of this.
It's like nobody knows what that button does, but nobody's gonna press it either.
Would you believe a tie's never happened in preseason? They've never even had to bridge this subject.
Yeah, I mean, that would be, how could there not be a tie, right? Okay, I'm looking. Toronto just beat Boston by 119 to 118. They didn't go to overtime.
By design, bro. They don't want us to go to overtime in the preseason.
Now, if Sacramento and Utah don't score again, they're tied up at 22 in the first quarter. We might find out.
They don't score again. That seems
for the following 3 quarters, they won't score again?
You never know.
I don't know.
Preseason, dude.
What's their offensive rating?
Yeah.
What's their defensive rating?
Adam, other than lockdown defense, what are you looking for in this final preseason game?
I'd like to see Kobe Brown play better, to be honest, guys.
Ooh,
he didn't take a shot last game.
I'm okay with that. Yeah.
He didn't play many minutes, but there's a reason for that. Kobe Brown, his play's been up and down. I wouldn't call him a chump. I would like to see a good chunk of minutes go his way. Maybe he's in the starting lineup with Jordan Miller. They get the summer league guys out there and some run. And I just want to see him be more aggressive with his offense, because He's not putting them up enough from downtown. I think he's taken like less than 10 threes in the preseason. And I don't know. Like he has both these guys are turning 25. He and Jordan Miller by the end of this year. Somebody has to show something now. I don't know if he's going to get his 10-game sample size if he doesn't show a little bit more right now in the preseason. He hasn't been awful, but he hasn't popped at all.
And I have to imagine that Batum is not playing Thursday.
Hell no.
So Kobe has a chance to maybe start at that 4 spot. Yeah, I don't know. Will, what are you most excited about?
I already said mine.
What are you dreading then?
The defensive rating going up.
Yeah, I'm putting all my stock in that.
This was our year based on the preseason defensive rating. I think KPJ is going to get a chance to.
Yeah.
I hope. Look, offensively, it's like, yeah, he can make difficult shots. Watching KPJ, if he can come in and kind of like make good decisions, watch the fouls, that kind of stuff, that he's going to get a chance to showcase that. Because again,
what about Christie?
I like that. He hasn't played much.
Yes, I don't even.
This is going to be his biggest stint of the preseason. So
yeah.
He's never afraid to shoot. I love that.
Yeah, get him like 15 3-point attempts.
I mean, I don't know. I could see him being a rotational player. Maybe not this season, but the potential is there, unquestionably.
Oh yeah.
Gain some weight, get some time in the G League. When do they announce? Because also Kai Jones, we talked about a little bit. Kai Jones has the other two-way wrapped up. That's fully his.
Why is it not done yet?
That's what I'm confused about. Are they waiting for his? Because he's on a 10 right now, right? No, that can't be possible.
I think it is an Exhibit 10.
But hasn't it been more than 10 days since?
Other guys are also on it. It's definitely been more than
time.
10 days. I don't know. Is the 10 a literal 10? Is this some grandfathered
in?
Pinky
swear at each other after day 10. They're like, dude, don't worry about it.
It's just like, honorable men, handshake deal.
Yeah, they're doing this handshake. They're doing that. It'll be very weird. I don't want anyone to read too much into the final preseason game, I guess would be what I hope for. What I do want to see, if you're not following Law Murray on Twitter, which if you're watching the show, you probably should be, Law Murray is trying to organize a pickup game at the outside court before the Thursday game. He tweeted out, Thursday, fans coming into it, let's hoop. Court outside is nice. I'm serious.
He's also been doing some phenomenal content on how long it takes to walk up the stadium. Yeah. I'm loving it.
Good stuff.
He did the 51 rows at the wall.
It's it's important.
He did it in like a minute 12, and he said, but he's in shape. They got to do wall races.
It's a steep fall if you mess up.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be officially sanctioned, but they'll happen for sure.
I think so. I think if they did officially sanction them, we're like, hey, it's a quarter break. We have two, you got the 2 staircases. And like, I think if they sanction it, makes it safer.
No. There's no way there's just no way they would take on that liability.
What if it's Chuck the Condor versus another mascot?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And now we're cooking with gas. How was Chuck the Condor's performance at Intuit? Is he still in preseason mode?
Gotta be honest, I don't even remember seeing Chuck yesterday. Was I that locked in?
Did he bail?
Or did he have a day off?
Bro, Chuck the Condor.
You're saying he's completely out of the conversation for mascot of the year.
Who was the NBA's mascot of the year last year? Was it Chuck?
Who votes?
No.
The other mascots?
Other mascots. Past mascots who are in the Hall of Fame. Chuck the Condor was 21-22.
Yeah.
Was Chuck the Condor.
Well, obviously earned it.
Harry the Hawk.
Oh.
Birds
Seems
of a feather.
The voters seem to like birds.
Well, in 2021, it was clutch for the Houston Rockets, as we know. Bear.
Because the Rockets.
Well, of course. But you think of Rockets in Houston, you think of gigantic gray bears. All right, score prediction for the real freaks. What are we saying for the final score for this game?
89-85 Clippers.
Oh, another defensive masterclass from the Clippers. Adam, what do you got? I'm going 115, 75 Clippers.
I'll go.
Did you say 115-75?
Yeah, they're pouring it on, dude.
Well, you got to show them what's up in the preseason. That's good for your division rival.
Oh, yeah.
Inspiring play for the Pac-Div. 112-98 Clippers.
Okay, I love how high we are on the
defense.
defense.
To hold them under 100.
Anything else you want to go over Clippers-wise before we send these wonderful folks out on this balmy Tuesday evening?
Did I tell you guys Portland has the best defensive rating in the preseason?
Who has the worst, actually?
That's a good question.
It's probably like Boston or something stupid.
You'll never guess. You'll never guess.
Who is it? 76ers? Lakers?
Fly the Concords is not going to like this. It would be the New Zealand Breakers.
That makes sense. Garbage.
At 129 points per 100 possessions.
Oh, yikes.
God damn.
The next closest team, so that's 31. The next closest team, the NBA teams, would be 30th, and that's the Indiana Pacers at 116. So they are 15 points worse.
Damn.
100 possessions. Not an NBA team.
All right. That's very bad.
They
all right,
got
so
run.
I don't think we're going to be doing. I will not be doing a post game live on Thursday, unfortunately. Maybe we'll be on Clippers Talk. That's up to Comrade Adam over there, driving that Clippers Talk ship. We will be back on Friday to talk whatever happened in the game. We're doing a regular season Game 1 preview on Monday night because Clippers basketball is just over a week away. If you're listening to this the day it comes out, yeah, Will, where could people? They're around the water cooler, and of course, all you hear at the water cooler is preseason NBA basketball. Who's got the best defensive rating? What's the VORP situation for the Clippers? Where could people tell their coworkers to listen to us?
Yeah, if you'd like to hear more about the sham Clippers defensive rating, according to Adam Oslin, you should follow this podcast. Tell your friends to follow this podcast. You can do that over on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. I think there's like a new thing on Apple Podcasts where you can leave comments on the episodes. It's not just limited to ratings and reviews. I believe that's correct. Anyways, so check that out. Let me know if I'm wrong. Hey, leave a 1-star review. I don't know. You can also watch.
Don't leave a 1-star review.
You can also watch this show over on YouTube, and there I can confirm that you can comment on every single episode. Yeah, Charles and Adam will read your comments and definitely respond to them very nicely.
I'll try not to.
For the most part. Someone said that we needed to treat Kai Jones like Giannis. I didn't respond to that one. I don't even know what that means.
What does that mean?
Hey, he definitely ain't playing on Thursday then.
Yeah. Adam, one positive thing to send these Clippers fans out on.
Kai Jones and KPJ fans were right.
Okay, let's not. I don't know if they were right. It's October 15th.
We're getting bodied, boys. I agree with what Will said. Despite the defensive rating, truther investigation, it's the principles, it's the traits, it's the habits they're building right now that you can see. They have the personnel. And they're leaning in to using them and not doing round, square peg, round hole type of stuff. They're actually trying to play to their personnel and get the right guys that can play this Jeff Van Gundy aggressive attacking defense, where we'll see maybe less drop this season, I think, and less switching this season, according to Justin Russo. I love it. I love defensive guys like this because Patrick Beverley was one of my favorite Clippers of all time, one of my favorite players. They got a new one now in Chris Dunn, and they got a guy in Derek Jones Jr. who he's intimidating just the way he talks. He's such a low talker. It's like, damn, this guy's serious. Like he wants Defensive Player of the Year. He wants to be first or second team all defense. This guy is not resting on his laurels just because he got paid a real contract and isn't on a veteran's minimum anymore. He's a badass. So I'm excited for this group's defensive potential, not just because
There
of
we
the
go.
rating.
For all the defensive Clippers heads out there, this is your year. And funnily enough, it is the Clippers year as a whole. We'll be back for y'all on Friday night. And as always,